Hi everyone, Shaun from Podiatry here. Today I'm going to show you a really simple and effective taping technique that can help you with heel pain. Now, first things first, you'll need some rigid strapping tape. This is a Elastoplast rigid strapping tape and it's 38mm rigid strapping tape. So you can get that at the local pharmacy or sports store, or you can get some from the clinic. If you have a tape allergy or have had a history of irritation after having tape applied to your skin, I'd recommend you use something like this. This is called Fixomull, and it's a white hypoallergenic tape. And what you can do is apply that to your skin first before you put the rigid strapping tape on. And in most cases, that should prevent you from getting a reaction. Now, what we need to do first is measure from the fifth toe joint area around the back of the heel to the big toe joint area. The best way to do that is to use the back of the tape. And you need one strip that goes from effectively the outside of the foot to the inside of the foot. Now this is a little bit tricky, this bit, but it's the hardest bit to do. So you want that to go around the base of the fifth toe joint, wrap around the heel, and then come around to the base of the big toe joint. So you can see on the inside and then on the outside. And once you've done that, you want to just gently massage the tape in, because if you do that, it should stick a little bit better. It's okay to have a couple of little creases in the tape, but just try and minimize those and not have it crinkle up too much. It's going to improve comfort and make it stick for a little bit longer. Once you've done that bit, you want to use the back of the tape again to measure some strips that go from the outside to the inside of the foot. And you want them to start and end on the tape, because the tape will stick better to the tape than it will to the skin. So they'll stay in place a little bit better. Once you've done that, you can get 4 or 5 strips. Now, how many strips you use will depend on how big your foot is. Got a reasonably big foot, so I'll probably use more like 5, but for some people they might even only need 3. And it's best to get your tape ready just to make the whole process a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to do 5 strips. Just stick it to my table here. Okay. And then what you want to do is start the strips going from the outside of the foot to the inside of the foot, back around the heel area. So in this case, I'm going to start where I'm covering pretty well the whole central portion of the heel. You want that tape to, as I said, start on the outside. And what you want to do is cover the bottom of the foot, but without too much tension being applied to it. Because if you start yanking on this tape straight away, the skin underneath the heel will bunch up and it may make it uncomfortable for you. So initially you're really just sticking it to the outside, sticking it to the bottom of the heel, and we're covering that central portion. And before you actually stick it to the inside of the foot, you can turn your foot inwards a little bit and apply a bit of tension to the tape, and then stick it down to the tape on the inside of your foot. Then what you want to do is overlap that strip by half. So go back to the outside, overlapping by around about half, again, not pulling on the tape too quickly, get it to sit across the bottom of the foot. And then the last little bit, you can turn the foot inwards a little bit, apply a bit of tension to the tape and stick it down. I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. So again, overlap by half, turn the foot inwards a little bit, apply a bit of tension to the tape, stick it down. Again, overlap by half, do the same thing. And one more on the outside, overlap by half, stick it down. So I've done 5 strips there. If you look at the outside of my foot, that's what it looks like. If you look at the inside of my foot, that's what it looks like. So they should be overlapping approximately by half. You'll end up having the majority of your heel covered, and the tape should extend towards the front of the arch, but it doesn't need to go all the way up under the forefoot area. It should end just behind that region. Once you've done that, you want to apply another piece of tape where you did apply the tape initially. So you want to go from the outside of the fifth toe joint to the inside of the big toe joint. And you can use the back of the tape, the non-sticky side, to measure that. And then this time I'd recommend going from the inside because you can see what you're doing a little bit better. You just want to make sure that that sits over the ends of the tape on both the inside of your foot and then the outside of your foot. Turn around this way. And it will just hold that tape in place to make it more likely to stick and stay in place for a little bit longer. Again, you can massage that in to help make that tape stick really, really well. It is worth spending a little bit of time doing that because it will definitely last longer and do a better job. Once you've done that, then what you want to do is just apply a loose bit of tape across the top of the foot to hold the tape on both sides in place. So this has to be really, really loose or you'll cause some irritation and discomfort on the top of your foot. And you're really just sitting it down on top, no tightness at all, so that that tape will give, but it will help hold it together. Once you've taped your foot up, then you need to stand up and just see how it feels and make sure that the tape stays in place. You may find that it does start to give a little bit, and if that happens, you can just reapply some pressure and stick it back down. It's not such a big deal if that happens, and it is quite common. But if you've taped it carefully, you should have the tape staying intact reasonably well when you're putting some pressure on it. And in most cases, this will actually hold up quite well for somewhere between 2 and 3 days. More likely to last a little bit longer if you can keep it relatively dry. I tend to find if you get it a little bit wet in the shower but not soaked, you could use a hairdryer on it and it will help maintain the condition of the tape for a little while. If it gets absolutely soaked or super hot and sweaty, you'll need to take it off. Even if it's feeling really good, you're better off taking it off because if you leave it on, you may not get an allergic reaction, but you'll probably get some type of skin irritation, and then that can stop us from being able to use this as a treatment option for a period of time until the skin settles down. I should note that when you stand up, it will usually feel quite tight. It's meant to feel tight. If it doesn't feel tight when you first stand up, it's probably not going to do much when you're spending time on your feet and exercising and that sort of thing. So it should be quite tight initially, and then obviously it will become looser over time. And we say leave it on for 2-3 days for most people because after that amount of time, the tape's probably not firm enough to be actually doing anything. And obviously we want it to be reasonably firm to try and help take some of the pressure off the heel and relieve the discomfort in that area. Give that a go and let us know if you've got any questions.